All right, let's dive into a topic well, it's literally inside every single one of us. We like to think of ourselves as individuals, right? But the honest truth is, we are walking, talking ecosystems, home to trillions and trillions of microorganisms. This partnership is so fundamental, it actually brings up a really mind-bending question.
It's a wild question, isn't it? But think about this. For every one of your own human cells, there's at least one microbial cell living on you or in you. Now, this isn't some kind of invasion. It's a partnership that's been evolving for millions of years, which really makes you wonder, are you just you, or are you a complex, living, breathing colony?
And of course, scientists have a name for this incredible partnership, a holobiont. It's a way of saying that we aren't separate from our microbes. We are a single, co-evolved unit. I mean, this idea completely flips the script on how we think about health, biology, and even what it means to be human.
Now, inside this ecosystem of yours, there's this constant tug-of-war going on. On one side, you've got eubiosis, that's the good stuff, a state of healthy, diverse, and balanced microbial life. But on the other side, you have dysbiosis, an unbalanced, unhealthy state that we're now linking to all sorts of diseases. And really, this balance is the central drama happening inside of us every single day.
And you know, this community isn't something you're just stuck with. It's a living story that unfolds over our entire lives. It all kicks off the moment we're born, gets shaped in a big way by what we eat as infants, and then by around age 3, a pretty stable adult-like community has moved in. But even then, things like our diet, getting sick, or even where we live can cause huge shifts.
All right, let's dive into Section 1. Welcome to your microbiome. So where does this first set of microbes even come from? Well, it all starts the second we arrive in the world.
Turns out, how you enter the world matters a lot. For babies born vaginally, that journey through the birth canal is like their first big inoculation, a direct transfer of microbes from mom. Babies born via C-section, on the other hand, get their first microbes from the skin of the first people who hold them. And these two very different starting points can set up completely different microbial communities right from the beginning.
Okay, on to Section 2, a tour of the body. So now that we're all colonized, let's take a little tour, shall we? We tend to talk about the gut all the time, but really our entire body is this patchwork of different microbial neighborhoods, each with its own unique vibe. But first, let's talk about the VIP lounges, the no-fly zones. Places like your brain, your blood, and your major organs are normally kept completely sterile. These are highly protected areas, and if microbes get in, it means trouble. That's why your immune system guards them like a fortress. Now, let's start our tour on the outside, the skin. When you hear staph, you probably think bad infection, right? Well, meet Staphylococcus epidermidis. This guy is actually one of our best friends. It's a guardian that lives on our skin, actively fighting off dangerous invaders and even helping to calm down inflammation. It's a perfect example of this partnership in action.
Moving on to the mouth, it is an absolute metropolis in there. Billions of microbes, like streptococci, set up shop and form these complex communities called biofilms, which you probably know better as plaque. And when that community gets out of whack, it can lead to problems like gum disease.
Next up, the stomach. We're talking about a literal acid bath here, designed to destroy most microbes that pass through, but some are just built different. The most famous survivor is Helicobacter pylori. It can actually survive and burrow into the stomach lining and is heavily linked to stomach ulcers and even some types of cancer. And that brings us to the main event, the large intestine. Seriously, this place is one of the most densely populated ecosystems on the entire planet. It's the heart of our microbiome, and its influence goes way beyond just digestion. In fact, these microbes are so essential, they even produce things we need to survive, like vitamin K and some B vitamins.
So that leads us perfectly into Section 3, the gut, mission control. Because the gut isn't just a digestive tube, it's the command center for this whole operation. What happens here can affect our metabolism, our immune system, even our brain.
So you might be wondering, how on earth do we know all this? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle comes from a fascinating type of experiment using what are called germ-free mice. These are mice raised in completely sterile bubbles with no microbiome at all, which lets scientists see what life is like without our tiny partners.
And what they found was absolutely mind-blowing. These germ-free mice could eat more food than normal mice, but somehow gained less weight. But here's the kicker. When they took the microbiome from an overweight mouse and transplanted it into one of these skinny, germ-free mice, they became obese without changing their diet at all. This was proof positive that gut microbes are directly in the driver's seat of our metabolism.
And the gut's power doesn't stop there. There is a direct communication superhighway between our gut and our brain called the gut-brain axis. Our gut microbes can send signals straight up to the brain through a massive nerve called the vagus nerve. And they produce chemicals that can travel through our blood, cross the blood-brain barrier, and directly influence our mood and behavior. It's incredible. So if these microbes are so powerful, why doesn't our immune system just wipe them all out? Well, our body has worked out this brilliant peace treaty. First, a thick layer of mucus acts like a physical barrier. Second, special antibodies act like security guards, grabbing bacteria to neutralize them. Third, the immune cells in the gut are trained to be more tolerant, to not overreact. And get this, the bacteria themselves can even release signals that tell our immune system to calm down. It's just a masterpiece of teamwork.
All right, section 4, when good microbes go bad. So what happens when that peace treaty falls apart? When that balance shifts to dysbiosis, our internal ecosystem can start working against us, and the results can be pretty serious.
One of the biggest disruptors, believe it or not, is something designed to save our lives: antibiotics. Now, they are absolutely essential for fighting dangerous infections, but they act like a bomb in our gut, wiping out the good bacteria along with the bad. And this can leave us wide open to other nasty infections. And this kind of imbalance, this dysbiosis, is now being connected to a huge range of modern health problems. For example, certain gut microbes that thrive on a meat-heavy diet can produce compounds that make heart disease worse. We already talked about the clear link to obesity, and the connection to cancer is becoming terrifyingly clear.
I want you to just let this number sink in for a second. 20%. That's the percentage of all cancers that scientists now think are either caused or spread by microbes. 1 in 5. That is a staggering statistic, and it really drives home how deeply our health is tied to the health of our microbiome.
Section 5. Becoming a better host. Okay, after all of that, the big question is, can we actually do anything about it? And the answer is a resounding yes. We can actively learn to be better hosts for our microbial partners. You've probably heard these terms thrown around. Probiotics are the actual, live, good guy microbes. Prebiotics are basically the food for those good microbes, things like certain fibers. And synbiotics are just a combo of the two. But, and this is a really big but, it is crucial to remember that these products are not regulated by the FDA like drugs are. That means quality can be all over the place. So, in the end, the science is pretty clear. You are not just a person. You are a planet. You are an ecosystem. Everything from the food you eat to the life you lead affects the trillions of tiny lives inside of you. So the real question this leaves us with is a personal one. Now that you know this, how will you choose to tend your internal garden?